You're listening to the Art Cityscape.
Welcome, Josh. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to bring us up to date on some very important things that are going on in the city. But first of all, maybe you can introduce yourself for those who do not know you, and then kind of what you do for the city, and we'll kind of take it to that point.
Thanks, Mayor. I'm Josh Yost. I'm the Community Development Director. So the Community Development Department handles city planning, building, and business licensing. So anytime that you want to open a business, build something, or plan for the future of the city, you'd interact with the Community Development Department.
Lots of things going on. And
yes.
We appreciate you being here with the city. You've got a great background and a great feel for kind of Utah. You grew up in Murray?
Murray, yes.
Is that correct? Wonderful. Well, we'd like to talk about three very specific plans, and let me just explain briefly what those are to set the stage for it. One of them is Reframing Downtown, making sure or finding out what it is that we want downtown to look like, making sure that we have the right look and feel. There's lots of people that love downtown, and we want to be able to enhance that. And it has to do also with where it extends to, and we'll talk a little bit about that. We also have 1600 South, which is going to be a new exchange over the next couple of years. It's going to be coming online. And there's, 1,000 acres or 2,000 acres down there that, frankly, is going to be a very large part of our community. And that layout, that look, that feel is going to be talked about over the next couple of months. And then we have active transportation, which is a very hot topic in our society today. And we want to make sure that we are addressing the needs of people who want to be a little bit more mobile, have different alternative types of transportation. And so the purpose of this is to give some very short information about that. And then, of course, to invite people to make sure that you're aware of what's on the agendas, so that you have a chance to come down to the City Council in our work sessions or on our formal council meetings and to give us your opinion on these things. It's very critical. Each of these studies have solicited input, but yes. Surely not everyone. And we want to hear from you. We want to hear what your thoughts and feelings are and allow us to do the best for the city. So with that, I'll turn it over to you and let you do the talking. So,
Sure. Just to follow up on what the mayor just mentioned about hearing from everybody. If I had one planning wish for the city that would help make our job more effective and make the whole endeavor of planning a city more effective, would be if I could magically show up at each of your house at some point during the day and say, hey, there's a meeting tomorrow, I'd like you to come. To get to that level of awareness in the community where everybody has the opportunity to understand and be informed about what's going on and make a decision as to how they'd like to engage with each of these processes. And we're always looking for more ways to get the word out and get the word back from people. So that's a big reason we're here with the podcast today for these three major plans. The first one, briefly, is the active transportation plan. I'll take them in order of a planned adoption process. So the active transportation plan is simply a plan for transportation for modes that are human powered. So biking, walking, riding your rollerblades, any of those modes other than driving in a motor vehicle. And the goal of the active transportation plan is to create a network for bikes and people walking that is comfortable, that is accessible to all ages and all abilities, that connects our destinations throughout the city and throughout the region, that contributes to our economic vitality, that improves or increases the activity in our daily lifestyles and makes it an easy choice for people to choose these type of modes if they so desire. And then lastly, to maintain the quality of our air quality and our environment that we really value in Springville. That plan has been reviewed by our Parks, Arts, and Recreation Committee, as well as the Planning Commission. And right now we have an agenda scheduled for September 19th to present that for the to the council for adoption or for action. And prior to that, we will have a extensive work session discussion with the council that we will get on the calendar here soon. Next is the Reframing Downtown plan. Mayor Packard summed it up really well, that it's a plan to help us identify and guide the future of downtown for the next number of decades. And that plan has as its geographic boundary 800 South, or essentially the intersection of 51 and 89 at the south end of Main Street, up to 400 North, and has essentially three zones, kind of a southern zone south of 4th, a northern zone north of Center, and then the downtown core between 400 South and Center Street. And it looks at one block either way, east and west of Main Street. And that plan looks at everything from what do we want Main Street itself to look like in terms of the design of the street and the function of the street. It looks at what type of buildings we'd like to see built in the area, what types of activities we'd like to encourage, and what type of public improvements could be made to create additional vitality in downtown and really tie our amazing civic destinations with the Civic Center, the splash pad, and the major traffic generator of the library to really make those feel an integral part of downtown so that people stay and spend time. And we started referring to it in the planning process as making downtown more sticky, so that when you come to drop off your parcel at the UPS store, you consider maybe making another stop, and that it's a comfortable and enjoyable place where you feel like that's a good option. That plan is also moving forward towards council review. We actually have a stakeholder meeting this Thursday, August 27th, and next Thursday, August 24th from 6 to 8 here at the Civic Center, where we will have opportunities to review the plan and take feedback and answer any questions. The plan is currently scheduled to be heard at Planning Commission in a public hearing where public comment is welcome and encouraged on September 12th. And Planning Commission meetings are at 7 p.m. Then for a council work meeting on September 19th, those are at 5:30. And then currently it's tentatively agended for council action on October 3rd. Lastly, the 1600 South Corridor plan has been in progress for a long time. It's really spurred, as the mayor mentioned, by the pending construction of a I-15 interchange at 1600 South, and then the reconstruction of 1600 South all the way from Spanish Fork Main Street to SR 51. That plan really looks at the area from a quarter mile north of 1600 South all the way to the southern boundary of the city to our common boundary with Spanish Fork. And overall, simply, that plan has as its goal to create a series of neighborhoods where your daily needs, your shopping, your schooling, other elements of your life can be met comfortably and in a way that would reduce your need to travel long distances to access the amenities that you like to have around. It will continue some of the intense regional retail of the Spanish Fork that we see in the area just to the south of the city. And it will also have smaller neighborhood centers and a range of housing ranging from single family homes on larger lots all the way up to townhomes and condominiums and apartments as we get closer to 1600 South. So we want it to be a really diverse neighborhood with lots of different types of businesses and types of housing to make it beautiful and resilient and accessible to the broad range of socioeconomic and demographic conditions we have in the city. We'd really love for it to be a place that you could move as a newlywed and find a place to grow a family, and then find a place to move down to as a family moved out through those kind of traditional or any other life phases, so that it really becomes an extension of all those things that we already love about Springville and really reinforces the sense of identity and place we have here. So it's really a big plan in terms of geographic scope and impact to the city, with hundreds of thousands of square feet of commercial planned, with thousands of residential units and thousands and thousands of potential residents. So that's a plan we'd really love to have engagement from, especially the people in that area of the city in kind of our western, south central areas. We plan to bring that to the Planning Commission on September 26th, again at 7 p.m., back to the council for a extended work session discussion on October 3rd, and tentatively for action before the council on November 7th. Now, as I mentioned, as I started talking, we really value the opportunity for you to be involved and value your engagement and your input. There's a number of ways you can be involved in these. You can reach out to the Community Development Department directly and meet with me, or send us an email. My email address is jyost, or JYOST, at springville.org, or you can call our main line and get in touch with someone who can schedule an appointment or forward you on to any of the planners, including myself. You're also welcome and encouraged to come to any of the meetings that I mentioned and provide public comment and give us your feedback, concerns, questions about the plan, and help the Planning Commission and the Council get a feel beyond the engagement that we've done already through the process, how the citizenry feels about these plans. And we're really excited to raise awareness and get everybody, have everyone have the opportunity to participate as much as they'd like as we move these plans forward.
Well, let me take each one of those individually and talk a little bit about them and get your reaction on it, maybe to stimulate some thoughts and feelings from people. One of the things that's troubled me more than anything else is this suspicion that things are done in the dark, in the back room, that nobody has a chance to say what's on their mind, that it's been already decided. There is nothing in these plans that's been decided for the city. It is open for discussion.
Yes.
The studies themselves have been done, and they are making recommendations to us, but based on public opinion, based on the committees they go through, we want to get the best to where we'll say, yes, we like this, no, we don't like this, and that's our prerogative. But we don't do anything in secret in the city. We can't. There are few things that we can do in secret, i.e. purchasing real estate, talking about litigation that you can't talk openly about, and personnel issues. So everything else, which may be uncomfortable for a councilman or even the mayor to talk about publicly, has to be done publicly. And that's why it's very critical for people to know we want their input. We want to hear what it is. We may not agree, but we have a great interest in what you have to say, because it does affect how we view it and how we vote on it. For example, active transportation. You have some people that are pretty strong in the city that want to do away with cars, principally, limiting this or making it so. And you have other people that say, nope, those roads are going to be open. We want wider roads. We want more transportation because of the traffic. Somewhere in the middle is this active transportation plan that needs to be laid out for the city. And that's why it's important to get people's input, because it can affect their property, it can affect the intersections, it can affect their ability to move around the city. Any thoughts on that? Or
one of the key principles we look at, or we keep in mind as we go through the active transportation plan, is that good active transportation infrastructure solves the mobility problems we all share. It is really not a zero-sum game. That when we increase a bicycle facility or improve an intersection for people biking and walking, it doesn't necessarily, sometimes, depending on what criteria you're using, it can have an impact on the experience of somebody in a vehicle. But generally, as we provide good solutions for everybody, the rising tide lifts all the boats in that way. And even if you don't ride a bike or walk very often and you need to use a car, having more people riding bikes and walking is good for you. I look at it and say, if we as a city make it easier for my daughter to ride her bike to West Side, that one, there's immediate benefits to her. She gets to have a great bike ride, feel independent, and get the activity and all those things that are good start to a day, but I don't have to drive her and go be another car in that drop-off loop. And so the people that do have to drive their kids to school appreciate me not being in the drop-off loop. And then all the elements of the city that are trying to maintain our roads and deal with congestion and traffic are happy that I didn't make that trip. But the fact that we made it easier for my daughter to make that trip safely didn't necessarily make it harder for somebody to make it in a car. There's always trade-offs, as you mentioned, but we really try to focus on a collaborative mindset and not on active transportation being anti anything or being something or being a plan that takes away something from anybody, but really gives everyone more options. And as I think about it, I hear a lot of times in Springville, as people describe the unique attraction of Springville, is its small town feel. And it's kind of ineffable. It's kind of hard to pin down. But I just, on Facebook, saw a video my neighbor posted, a little reel of her and her 3 kids riding down 2nd West down to the farmer's market last night on their bikes, their last farmer's market of the summer before school starts. And I thought, what's more small town than a little family riding their bikes down to the farmer's market? And that's really what I want to convey and want to help people not engage from a position of being worried that there's a threat of loss, but engage to understand really what is being proposed and how it could be a benefit.
So, Josh, do you and I agree on this active transportation on all aspects?
No, I don't think so.
Not at all. And are you offended with that?
No.
Nope, I'm not offended either. And we have active dialogue back and forth. And that's what we're trying to get the public to do, is
Yes.
to come and share their thoughts and feelings. It's not all right or all wrong. We're collectively trying to create something. Downtown, one of the things that I've worried about more than anything else is as the town grows, that we have a town here, we have a town on the west side, we have a town on the south side, we have a town on the west side of the freeway, so we have 4 towns. And so as we talk about reframing downtown, we're trying to create a nucleus of what makes downtown for all
Right.
parts of the community, and making it possible for us. So just any thoughts on that?
That's tricky. Our general plan for decades has been a city composed of a hierarchy of centers. The 2 big ones are what we call the town center, which is downtown, and the village center, which is the area surrounding the potential future front runner stop. But they are really kind of in a nested hierarchy. They don't all fulfill the same needs, and they don't all have kind of the same geographic reach. We wouldn't want 2 of the same type of destinations competing against each other or establishing separate civic identities, like you mentioned. But if we have small areas and neighborhoods, like in your youth and before, there were, as I've been told, small neighborhood markets. But it didn't replace the fact that you kind of have to come into town, come to Main Street to go to Safeway to get your big shopping, or maybe drive somewhere. But that there was layers of centers and layers of amenities. We want downtown to be the crown jewel of places people want to be in the city.
Very good. Do you and I agree on everything downtown? No.
But it makes better policy when we have open and frank discussions about it.
That's correct.
And I think the same thing is true with the public, that almost without exception, a broader and even not contentious, but a dialogue that engages very differing points of view nearly universally leads to better policy.
And I've universally seen public opinion to where the council has said, I didn't think of that. And it actually has changed the dynamics of the decision, which that's what we're looking for. And lastly, 1600 South is that there's a lot there. There's a tremendous amount, and lots of the acreage that's on the south side of 1600 South, people think is in Spanish Fork, but it's not. It's in Springville, and it's a huge part of who and what we are. And we spent a tremendous amount of time thinking through the different components down there so that we don't distract from our downtown, that we're able to create perhaps some opportunities that were pretty prevalent when I was a kid. You know, Mom would say, go down to Pace Market and pick up some hamburger or some buns or something. And I know that we're working hard to create these nodes, and people need to see that, and that the look and the feel down there. Do you and I agree on everything down there? Absolutely not. You and I have had long discussions about this, and that's what we're trying to get the public to do, is to come in and interact with us so that we can get their points of view and to understand what it is that they're thinking, so that we can kind of have all the hands at the table.
Yes, and throughout the process.
Throughout the process. Any last words that you'd like to share?
Oh, I'm really appreciative for the opportunity to speak with you and hopefully get the word out about all these plans we've got moving forward. They'll be better for any engagement that our citizens are willing to provide us, and we hope to be able to advance them promptly and get moving on actually doing the doing that the plans tell us to do.
Perhaps as a last closing, maybe we need to hire one of those biplanes with the banner going.
Oh, yes,
behind it
or a
says,
skywriter.
There we go. Yeah, something to get the word out, because our means of communication with the public has certainly changed when it used to be, a local paper.
Yeah, we need somebody to open up a small local newspaper and publish the goings-ons.
That's right. Well, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.